Good evening, good peoples. All right, let's jump into Roundhill. I think I messed up last week, so I definitely fixed. There was some glitch. I got the numbers, but one of them or two of them were wrong. So anyway, that all got fixed. I got the new stuff in. We will have 5 payments this month of November. So I showed you what they are at 4 and then showed you what the chart looks like comparing other 4 weeks and 5 weeks. So let's jump in. So XDTE, the weekly pair for the S&P 500 at 25 cents. So if you look, other than these 41 and 35 and 38, and a few other 30s, clearly the range seems to be as low as 15 cents up to 41. I think that's your low and high period. So I call this about average. So how much have you collected over the last, since 325? If you've been collecting, you would have collected now $8.38 on the S&P 500 fund. Let's look at it on a monthly basis. Okay. So this one arguably pays on 11/1. So that's why, I mean, some people say there's 5 pay weeks in October. I guess you could see it that way. Even though technically this is on the first, maybe I use it as declaration dates, right? So that's because somebody asked me a question in general about, the 13 months that now by paying the monthlies, you're going to get 13 payments on the funds over at YieldMax, but the weeklies always generate 52. That's why every third month you have a fifth payment, right? So you end up with 12 times 4 is 48, and then 4 extra months. Every third month gets you 48 plus 4 is 52. So anyway, that's why there's a little bit of confusion there. So somebody had asked me if I could summarize the months, and I sort of came up with a charting. So 25.8, what's the yield? 25.55. What did we do this week compared to last week, declaration date to declaration date? We were down $1.09. How's XDTE since the inception? Still up 47 cents. So actually a NAV gain, not any NAV erosion. So 4 weeks so far in this, but again, I shouldn't be counting it that way, peoples, because I really used this one as in my October. So let me, E7, let me just make sure, through 11, that is correct. So $1.04. So in that sense, we've only had 3 weeks, right? So I don't want to count E7 again. So I'm going to make this just, so never mind what I did. So far, 74 cents. Okay. So this guy was a 5-month payer, right? So now we can look at what 3 weeks so far has given us versus 4 and 5 weeks. The orange, okay, yellow orange here, are 4 weeks. The green on the black instead of the orange or yellow on the black are the 5-week pairs. So you can see the highest pair was a 4-week, and then the next highest was a 5-week, and then a 5-week and a 4, and then a 5. So you can see at 74 cents, we get another 25 cents and we're at $1, right? So we're right in this range, 4-week payer, $1.03, a 5-week payer, $1.04. We could be in the 90 cents. So overall, good, gotta say. All right, let's jump into QDTE, right? Tends to yield higher. All right, it actually did because this is a cheaper price. You can buy QTE for $42.55, but you got to pay 52. So when they yield 25 cents or they pay 25, you get a yield of 25.55, and over here we get a 30-cent yield. So let me fix this as only 3 weeks and change the math. So I see why the confusion on that, whether you use payday or declaration. So since I already summed it up as the declaration date, that one's only going to be 43 through 45. And we continue to run with this guy, which is 46 through 51. Actually, it should only be 46 through 50, because that is 5. So wow, when the NASDAQ is paying big, both in a 4-week and a 5-week, again, that same 4-week that paid so well in XDTE, the S&P 500 also, because the market was just roaring up for that kind of stuff in August after dropping a lot that one day. So where are we after 3 weeks? Well, after 3 weeks, he's got 76 cents. So again, that should be a dollar payer in 4 weeks. And that's typical. I don't think there's been anything below a dollar. So that's looking pretty good. At 76 cents, you only need 23 cents to get to the dollar. All right, guys. So let's take a look at the Russell, which outperformed everybody, right? What was the yield on the QDT? It was almost 31%. So that's awesome. Okay, guys, let's look at the Russell 2000. Okay, RDTE. And I summed it up here because I haven't started doing my charts. So technically, this was a 5-weeker. Let me fix that, because using all of those dates, you would have gone from 90 through 87. Yep. Okay, that's 5 weeks. Whoops. I'm going to count that which way. Okay, so this is only 3 weeks so far. So I got to give that guy. That's going to change the math here to 85. And I'm going to count the other one in October. I'll put 86 in here. All right. So you had a 5-week to 3 weeks. All right. So assuming, I mean, look at this, 41 cents. That would almost equal that. If you got that again, you'd have $1.41 here in 4 weeks. So the Russell's killing it, right? Did lose $1.87, right? All three were down, right? The first one was down $1.09. This one was down $1.13, and this is 1 week comparison, right? Declaration date to declaration. This guy was down $1.87, but look at the yield. 48% yield, 41 cents on your weekly. All right. So how does that all sum up, peoples? Well, here's my data. This is done correct. I went over this. All right. So you got the S&P 500. Again, I'm using Inception. You can use your data, and you should, right? So it's remained stable. If you bought it at Inception, paid 52.46. It's currently at 52.53, right, on the distribution date. And that's 258 days. So you've earned the $8.38 on this, $15.99. Well, what do you do when you annualize that number, right? You would multiply because 365 divided by 258, you get 1414. When you multiply 1599 by that number, you get 2262. So, and there's no loss, right? We had a smidgen, right? You got 7 pennies higher, 0.13. When you annualize that versus the 258 days, you get 19. So that moves you up. 2280 is your total return, right? Your NAV gain, insignificant, but at least it's a gain, and your dividend. Clearly, this is a higher dividend yielder, but this is where I always like to show. I'm trying to not cover up the numbers, guys. You guys have pointed that out to me. So you're actually behind. Now, I know some of you say, yeah, but Bruce, I've been collecting it along the way. And when it's this close, go with the one you like, right? But I'm always going to tell you what total return is, and you can calculate your own. Um, and let's look at RDTE. So the Russell, unfortunately, I say this every time, but I just, in case somebody's watching for the first time, its sample base is so small. Obviously, this 249 only is 71 days of weekly payments, and they don't pay the first couple of weeks of the fund, right? So, and look at the dividend annualized is still 30.52. If this had a sample base as big, it probably would go down. But you would still have an outsized dividend annual return. And look at your gain. You're still 42 versus 40, 44 versus 42. So your gain loss is 4.76. And since it's on a small base, we have to multiply that times 5. So we get all the way to 24.48. And so that's probably realistic that that's how much it's outperforming, but a big portion of it underperforming here at a 30%. And well, actually, this is annualized, right? This isn't. When you look at these and you go, wow, it's only dividend returns only 5.94, because that's just adding up the payments and dividing it by the price. So if one's been paying for 3 years and one's been paying for 2 months, there's no contest, right? Sample size is too small. So you want to do apples and oranges, and that's why they get the benefit of annualizing this, right? So the yield's pretty close. All right, guys, that's what I got for you on Roundhouse. I kept this in here because some of you commented. What this is trying to target, like a lot of these funds now, is it's still a monthly payer, okay, but it is targeting a fixed relative 20% type return. And they're doing it with ROC. So you're pretty much not taxed if you're in a taxable account. It's mute, it's no advantage, or null, I should say, if you're in a 401k or a Roth or another tax advantage fund, if you're in Canada or somewhere, because it doesn't matter as much. All right. So they fix these first two monthly distributions at 97 cents. They'll set a new one for all of next year, but you can expect it to be targeting total return around 20%. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. I guess I could update this, but actually, let me do that just out of curiosity what the price is here. XPay, I imagine it's down today, but it may not be down overall. Yeah, it's actually up overall because the last time it had was 58.40. So you're getting some gain here in the basis of it, right? And it's targeting like 20. It's a target, as I mentioned, a 20%er. So you can see here where I got the XPay number of 58.40. Okay, guys. All right, that's what I got for you. This is Bruce with Targeted Wealth Creation. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. It's for fun and entertainment. Okay, guys, I'll be out with Defiance and then Yeomax. All right, guys, bye for now.